Hello and welcome to episode 61 of Pacific Horseplayers right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I am your host, Noah Meagher, joined by my good friend and co-host, Jackson Muniz. Unfortunately, Ryan Anderson will not be joining us this evening, but it is noteworthy that he is in Costa Rica and he will not be joining us next weekend. So it's good that he, takes a break and gets to have a vacation with Liv, but unfortunately, we will not have him tonight nor next week. So it's just Jackson and I, as we're going to be talking about some races on Saturday. I'll get into those shortly in terms of specifics and what races that we'll be talking about. But Saturday card, of course, at Santa Anita, because that, of course, is our thing over here at Pacific Horseplayers. If you're wondering where I'm at right now, if you tune into our Betting and Boozing show, I'm actually at the Bayside Bunker, which is just the office that Kyle uses here in the greater Fort Lauderdale, Florida area. I'm not actually sure where I'm at, but I know that I'm in the Roscoe residence. So having a good time, and got to go to Gulfstream a couple of days. I was there Saturday and Sunday with both Charlie and Kyle, so having a blast down here in Florida before things wrap up with school once again. So just enjoying the last couple of days that I'm here, and I get to enjoy the next 45 to 50 minutes talking some Santa Anita with Jackson. So looking forward to that as well. Scrolling on the bottom of the screen is our weekly schedule. Of course, you can see that down there. We've got Pacific Horseplayers tonight as we're filming this on Tuesday night. Betting and Boozing, which this is typically the location that it's hosted on Wednesday nights, and then Thursday nights, Picks and Ponies. We got Leaderboard Wednesday nights, wire-to-wire shows, basically whenever we want, and then Weekend Warrior shows on Saturday. So we got a lot of stuff going on here on the HHH Racing Podcast, and you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. And if you don't want to try to keep up with all of that stuff that I just said, you can just hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. And then while you're at it, you might as well hit the like button as well. Got a regular Power Picks tip sheet, of course. Pass the Hat was a good score for myself. I know Howard had that on there. Kyle profited from that. That was a good score to end the day on Saturday at Gulfstream. That was on there. It was a good way to kick off the year 2026. If you want to kick it off even better, you can go sign up for Team HHH 2026. Our premium subscription is now live, and you can find out more about us at our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Two more things to address, of course. Our proud sponsors, Daily Racing Form. You can get past performances and clock reports for Gulfstream and Santa Anita every racing day. Just go to their website, drf.com. And last but not least, this is one that's a little bit up in the air. To be announced, we've got a Twin Spires tourney on Saturday, of course. It'll be Fairgrounds and Tampa. It's a little bit like the one last week where it is a combination of two tracks and a bunch of races to choose from. So please, if Howard, you are in the chat, maybe you can let us know, if we will be having that on Saturday, because I know Jackson will be interested. And if that's the case, then I'll be hosting. So you get to see our beautiful faces even more than just the 45 minutes that will be happening tonight. Jackson, how are we doing?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah.
How's it going with the rain?
The rain's been fine. It was really bad last, I think, Thursday, Friday. And then they couldn't run over the weekend just because it rained so much. They were going to be off the turf, and it was going to be like 3 horses every single race. So they made the correct decision to postpone it. And as a result, Thursday and Friday's card are really good this week. So the whole week at Santa Anita this week should be excellent. So take advantage of it while you can. Get the extra day this week, and it's going to be a lot of good races.
Yeah, I know. I think Thursday's one of the cards that they're kind of subbing from one of the ones that they had to cancel, correct? And I looked at Thursday, excuse me. It's a great card. I mean, we were very close to covering Thursday because it is they got the San Gabriel, I think, which is maybe the 7th race 7 on Thursday, and some other really competitive races on Thursday. So, if you're not doing anything Thursday,
15 minutes from the track, so I'm going to find a way to go out there for at least a few races and then come back.
I love it. We got a bunch of people in the chat here already. Matt Miller is one of them, of course, and Katie is one of them, of course. It is just horses talk time. Let's win again at Santa Anita. Ralph Conti was actually the first one here, so shout out to Ralph for being the first one. Francisco's here. He's got the little pony emojis. I love it. Of course, the boss is here. Yes, that question has already been answered. I am hosting from the infamous Bayside Bunker. Let's see who else is in the chat. Jim Polaris. Apparently Noah can swing the sticks. Yeah, I had to teach Kyle a lesson this afternoon. He didn't like it, and I actually used his clubs, and he's not happy about that. He was going to sit next to me, but he's a little little sour about the loss that he took this afternoon. So, unfortunately, we might not be seeing a little Kyle in this show.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Well,
without
like I
further,
said, if you're beating Kyle, then I feel pretty good about my chance of beating Kyle because I've beaten you all 3 times we played together. So
that's
we all know who the best
called
golfer in the group is.
there's this thing called a handicap, and you can play little side games with the handicap that you use. But speaking of handicapping, we got a card to handicap, so let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Here we go. That's the first race. Equibase is up on the screen now. So the races that we're going to be covering tonight are races 3 and 5, which are the Santa Ynez and the San Vicente, which are both 3-year-old stakes that they're having at Santa Anita. So that's races 3 and 5. And then we've got Turf Pick 3 tickets for you, which include the races 6, 8, and 10. So 3, 5, 6, 8, and 10. Race 3 is on the screen now. And it's a 5-horse field. Of course, it is the Santa Ynez. Morning lines are out for the stakes. Thanks to Jackson, who sent me those earlier, and let me get those pulled up just right now. And morning lines for this race, the morning line favorites, the 5 Explora, 3 to 5 on the morning line, which I guess I probably should have known. Second choice is the number 3 Bottle of Rouge at 7 to 2. And then you've got the 1 Himika at 5 to 1, the 4 Rivera at 6 to 1, and Lawali at 8 to 1. Let's see who we are going with in this race. Let me get the picks up on the screen. And there they are. I'm going 3, 5, 2, and Jackson's going 5, 3, 4. Jackson, you're a man that likes to play against chalk on, more of a common basis, I'd say. This is one where you're just kind of taking the chalk and moving on, it looks like.
Yeah, I looked for a reason to try to beat her and didn't really find one. I mean, I don't like the 1 at all. I don't like the 4. I don't like the races those 2 are coming out of. But Wally to me feels a lot like Universe from last weekend in that she was running, seconds and thirds and fourths against good horses, but was getting just perfect setups to do it. And then she finally ran a race where she didn't have everything her own way and was terrible. Like I don't know how good she actually is. So it kind of came down to Bottle of Rouge or the favorite, and Explorer just beat her pretty good in the Breeders' Cup. I don't really see any reason why she's going to be able to turn the table on her. So with Explora, she has the outside post, she has the tactical speed, she's working really, really well in the morning. She looks sensational the last couple works I've seen from her. I honestly think if you get 3 to 5 on her, I think that's actually a pretty decent price.
I kind of saw the same thing in the mornings. I kind of chalked it up to me thinking that it was her workmate that was kind of not very good. And granted, she looked very good, but I was just a little skeptical that people would go crazy for the work. With that being said, I mean, she's going to be 3 to 5, and like you said, if you get 3 to 5, that'd probably be a gift. I mean, I'd expect her to be a little more like 1 to 5 in here. But I kind of thought that Bottle of Rouge, when they faced off against each other in the Delmar Debutante, granted, Explora got a little carried away maybe with a hot pace, but I mean, she beat her out on the square and she did it well. And I know she's kind of a sprinter through and through. I think that Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies was a bit of an experiment at that point in time, but she's proven that she can sprint. And I think maybe down the road, she's going to be a bit of a better sprinter. So I went that direction, just thinking, obviously, you're going to get a bit of a better price going in that direction. So really nothing else to add with Explorer. She makes a ton of sense in her.
Yeah. I'll just add to Bottle of Rouge. Rouge.
I think it's Rouge.
Yeah. I had a note on her from the Breeders' Cup, and really all summer, she just never has been a very good workhorse. She's always been pushed along, really struggled to finish off works. But I thought her last 2 were definitely a step.
She looked okay.
She looked significantly better than she did before the Breeders' Cup. So that's at least something worth monitoring. Maybe she's perked up a little bit. Maybe we will see an improved effort out of her. I still think the other horse has the pace advantage and is maybe a little bit better, but I won't be shocked if she runs very well in here.
Yeah, you might be right. I've got Lawali in third, who I was a little surprised by the tactic switch up that they pulled in that Juvenile Fillies last time. I think she is going to be a little bit better coming from off of it. Granted, they do put the blinkers on, but it could be just one of those situations where they want her to finish a little bit better. And then you've got the 4 and third, which I do agree with the statement that the race at the 1 and the 4 last time was maybe just a little bit below some of the talent that maybe the other 3 have shown.
Yeah, they went pretty slow early. They finished up just okay. I just think the other horses are just better animals as of right now.
Yeah, I think that's that's enough to talk about in this race. So we'll go ahead and move on to race 5, and race 5 is going to be up on the screen. I've got the picks up on the screen. Let me get the Echo Base up on the screen. I apologize. This is a setup that Kyle used for 160 whatever shows, and this is the first time I'm using it. So let's see if we can do this in a timely manner. San Vicente, grade 2, 2 o'clock on the West Coast, $200,000 per 7 furlongs on the main track, and another field of 5. And let me get those morning lines pulled up once again. I know the morning line favorite is the 3 Butane, and he is 6-5 on the morning line. Second choice is to his outside, the 4 Acknowledge Me Please at 5-2. Third choice, the 2 So Happy at 3-1. And the inside runner, Greenwich Village at 5-1, and the 5 Thirsty Rebel is at 8-1. And our picks are already up on the screen. I'm chalking out. I'm going 3-1-4. Jackson's going with the speedy type for Dougie Fresh. He's going the 4 Acknowledge Me Please, Kimura, and Doug O'Neill. Obviously, you think that he's going to be good enough to wire him here.
Yeah, I think that's probably the hope, right, with this horse. Listen, I think it's a 2-horse race. I think it's between the 3 or the 4. I don't need any of the other 3 in this spot. And I don't know what you're supposed to do with that most recent race at Los Al, because he was stretching out the first time. He broke really well. He broke on top. And instead of going to the front, your boy Ayuso just kind of rated him, and then he drifted out really wide and turned. And then he didn't really run. It was a really strange performance from him. I didn't know what to make of it. Kind of decided to just maybe be a little forgiving. It did come at Los Al, because his races before that were really good, especially when 2 back at Santa Anita, sprinting on 6.5 furlongs. I mean, that was a monster number he put up that day, beating a decent horse in Blacksmith, who came right back and was second in that same race over at Los Al. So I think there are things to like. He definitely got the best of the posts. He drew outside of his main pace rival in here. And, he's going to be twice the price probably. I think he's every bit as good, if not better. I mean, he's run fast for numbers in the favorite. If you switch the barns, I mean, he'd definitely be favored. So I'm going to take the 4 near, better posts, better numbers, more speed. Hope he can wire this field.
Yeah, and that's probably the way that he's going to beat this field, right? And the blinkers should most likely help that. I would hope that that was by instruction that Ayuso was to take him back last time. But then again, we would have to, we'd have to question Doug about, what he was thinking that day. But regardless, I think he's going to get back to his ways, at least, of getting to the front end. He should really have no problem about that. The reason for me putting Butane on top is just I think that he's not going to let him get too far. I mean, he's going to be close. He was close in the Hopeful. I mean, he was on the lead when he won over the summer in his debut at Del Mar. So I have every reason to believe that JJ is going to be, a length. He's not going to be more than a length and a half. I can tell you that right now. So Butane on top. I know Zidane they've got credentials of maybe shipping horses into spots that they don't belong, but he was favored over Ted Nafi. I mean, when I saw that, I completely forgot that that was the case. And I really thought he ran fine. I mean, he kind of made the same move that Ted Nafi did. Maybe that hurt him a little bit in the end, but he was still able to outfinish Curtin Call and get second. And he's had some time off, so he's coming into the race fresh. Maybe this is a step forward to some bigger things in his 3-year-old career. But I think if he runs his best, that he's going to be pretty tough. So I've got him on top. The 1 was a little interesting to me, who I'll talk a little bit, but you said it's 3-4. So obviously you agree to some degree.
Yeah, I think he's a horse to beat for sure. I didn't know what to make of the Hopeful, because he got beat 8 lengths. It wasn't like he was going up there toe-to-toe with Ted Nafi. To me, it felt like he was second best of a bad bunch behind him. Like, I don't think there's much else in that field. If he was 5th beating 8 lengths, would he really be 6-5 in this race? Like, I don't think so. And the debut came against Falcon Jet. Falcon Jet is like 0-for-6 for Baffert. It was run on grass, and like he's just not a very good horse. Yeah. So I don't think this is one of Baffert's better horses. I think this is a good spot to take a chance against the Bafferts in this race.
Yeah, and then the other ones that we've got to kind of round out some exotics, I've got the 1 Greenwich Village, who I think the rule of thumb is those Los Al maiden races, when Baffert kind of steps up those 3-year-olds, they're maybe just a little overmatched. I did think he was a little bit interesting just because I've seen some works in the mornings, and I think he's got a lot of talent. He's just really still figuring things out, and especially from the rail, it's going to be tough. But I think he might be one you want down the line. If he does maybe figure things out second time out, I think he could maybe take a big step up. Whether or not that's going to be enough to maybe beat the 3 or the 4, I'm not sure, but at least you're going to get paid for it. I think he was, what did I say, 5-1 or 6-1 on the morning line. So
Yeah.
you're getting a little value in that direction. And then you've got the two So Happy, who I still have no idea what to do with that race. Winston Avenue was terrible, and then Yak Team came back and won. I know that's a sore subject for you, but you had horses that have
horrible name for this horse. This horse, when he won, did not make me very happy at all. I was alive for a lot.
Well, you've got horses that have come back and ran absolutely abysmal, like Winston Ave and Cactus Charlie, who ran Oakland, was terrible. And then you've got Secure Freedom, who came back and won that race that Winston Avenue didn't run very well in. And then Blacksmith kind of got back to his ways after that big number that he popped. So I really had no idea what to do with the race that he's going out of.
Agreed. And to Howard's point, who's saying in the chat, if they go bonkers on the front end, he's probably the one you can trust the most to pick up the pieces late. I'm just not usually a fan of betting horses back at 3-1 when they were 38-1 the first time out.
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. And Howard could be right. I mean, if those two really go fast and maybe through JJ really doesn't let the 4 get away with the 3, they can maybe heat things up and the 2 would be the one to get a piece for sure. That is a little too close. We'll go ahead and move on to the Turf Pick 3 portion of the races that we'll be talking about tonight. I'll get that up on the screen in just a moment. It continues with race 6, which is a starter option claiming for 50,000, and it is up on the screen right now. I thought this was a pretty difficult race. There weren't really a ton of horses in here that I could trust. 6 furlongs on the turf, purse of 35,000. We do not have the morning lines for these races. We did have the morning lines for the stakes, but unfortunately we do not have the morning lines for these. And I honestly wouldn't know who the favorite would be in a race like this. Let's see who we're going with to kick off the Turf Pick 3. I'm going 3-7-5, and Jackson's also going with 3, but he's going 3-10-6. Jackson, I really want to get your take on this horse because, if you look up All or Nothing in the Urban Dictionary, I feel like she's going to be pretty much right at the top of that list.
Yeah, probably. I think with this horse, I don't think she's going to be favored. I think the 6th will probably be the favorite for Sadler. Hector Barros has a little bit more speed. This race is tricky because there really isn't a whole lot of speed. It's tough to know who's going to make the front end in here. And with the 3, Haley Letty, she's a horse that is going to be coming from probably pretty far out of it, as you can see on the time for pace projector. They have her in last, actually. I don't know if she'll be that far back, but she's definitely not going to be in the front half of the field. I just think her last few races have been, you can forgive a lot of them. She's just had bad posts. She's had wide trips, both turns. Her last 3, she's run fine in them. They've all come against better horses, and she's just getting substantial class relief in this race. Now she finally has a decent inside post. I think the 6 furlongs might not be a bad thing for her either. I think there are a lot of things to like about this filly. It's just a matter of, is she going to get the pace setup that she needs? Because as we talked about, she isn't going to be coming from the back half of the field, which it can be difficult to do, go in the 1-turn sprint at Santa Anita. Completely
agree. And I was going to make the point that some of the races, especially the races 3 and 4 back at Del Mar, where Mike Smith was riding, she just got no chance trips in there. 3 wide trips on that Del Mar turf course, you're never going to have a chance regardless of who you are and who you're facing that day. And then the race 2 back, I thought, here at Santa Anita at the end of September, I thought she ran well. She was wide once again. She's a big price that day. Obviously, you mentioned that she's been facing better company. I would be a little concerned that maybe she'd be a little too far back, but I think with the nature of maybe facing some better horses, I didn't really think that she was going to be last. I was pretty surprised when I saw that. And Rispoli's the kind of guy where he's definitely going to give a different ride than the riders that she's been getting lately, because he's got that European influence, right? He's going to try to save every inch of ground, and I think that's what she needs in a race like this. So I'm going to go, Hey Little Lady. And not to mention another point that I was going to bring up, maybe she just doesn't like Del Mar. She doesn't even hit the board in 7 starts at Del Mar. So maybe it's a Santa Anita thing. She gets back to Santa Anita, and I do like her as well.
The one thing I'll add is she's gone this distance at Santa Anita twice, and she has a win in a third. And the third came against Winners, where she got no setup, and she was 20-1. And those are, Jungle Piece and Shillify, those are pretty good horses that she was finishing behind.
Absolutely. You've got the 10 in second, which is Clubhouse Cutie, who is one with maybe some upside that you can go towards. And if you want anybody that's riding better than Mirko and Meagher on this turf course, you're not going to find it.
Yeah, he's been red hot the last, 2 months, I guess, since this the Delmar meet over the fall. He's been riding sensationally. I think the hope with this filly is the one grass race was obviously kind of a standout. It was big number that day. She chased a fast pace and ran third, but that 68 buyer, I mean, that's not that far off what it's going to take to probably win this thing. And as we talked about, there's not a whole lot of speed in this race. So if she breaks well, can get fourthly place, I think she can be right there against this bunch. And, I think she's going to be a bit of a price. I think she'll be around 8 to 1-ish if I had to guess. I think that you can do a lot worse than that in this kind of race. It seems very wide open.
I like it. And I kind of went the same direction in terms of, maybe looking for some upside in second. And that's with the 7 Lady Rider. Biella was a big favorite that day, and she got a pretty easy lead. I mean, there was no catching her that day. She ran a career best buyer on the turf. Doesn't really make any sense for me to believe that she won't run another good race on the turf yet again. I know she's got to step up a little bit. But you get the services of Juan Hernandez and Vladimir Serin, very capable, obviously, of training a winner. So I went to her. I think she'll be a little bit forward in a race that maybe doesn't have a ton of speed. I think JJ is going to get her in a good spot. So I've got her in second. And then I've got the 5 in third, who is, I guess, the biggest wild card of the race. She's run some good races. Won pretty impressively in a maiden 20 over the summer. I believe we were actually there that day, and she smoked that field. And the concern going in was, if she's really, ready to run, why is she in for 20? But, it's smaller connections. They're going to trust Mark Ladd in a situation like this, and a situation in terms of moving from the dirt to the turf, which is a little bit odd because she doesn't really have a ton of turf breeding. But it's kind of a Mark Ladd I trust. She's got some upside as well. So I went her direction in third. And then you've got Cloudy Women in third as well, who I think if I'm against anybody on Saturday, I think it's Cloudy Women just based off of the setup that she got last time. But I can't argue if somebody's going to put her on a ticket.
Do you agree that she'll be favored in here if you had to guess?
I think you're probably right. Simply based off connections alone and the fact that she's got a first and a second in her last 3 starts. I mean, that would make sense to me.
Yeah, the last 75 number, she's got some kind of speed. I'm not going to use her in my turf pick 3. I do respect her, as I said. I think she's the horse to beat in here. I kind of agree with you. She got a setup last time. She ran well. Don't get me wrong. I don't know how much better she's going to be able to run off of that most recent race.
I completely agree. We'll move on to race 8, which is the second to last race that we're going to be talking about. It is the third to last race on Saturday, and the picks are up on the screen. Let me get the Equibase up on the screen here real quick. Race 8 is a mile on the turf. It's a $25,000 claimer, purse of $35,000. I thought this was a pretty competitive race, but clearly not, because we've got the same top pick, and we've also got the 4 in there somewhere in the mix. Morning line favorite, I guess, could be the 8, the horse that we've got on top. You could go some other different directions. You've got an Adelphi runner shipping in Gem Mint 10, who I actually saw in person at Saratoga in 2024. With the connections of Rispoli and Falcone, I would assume he would probably take a little bit money invading from the East Coast. And our picks are up on the screen: 8-4-1 for me, 8-11-4 for Jackson. I kind of saw everything you saw, Jackson. Russell's Hustle, Barrios, Miller. I think there's a chance that maybe he isn't favored, but I think if he is favored, that's probably a good sign for us, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Look, I really struggle with this race. I have no idea where to go. There was that common race in October where I think like 5 or 6 of them are coming out of the same race, and I watched that race 4 or 5 times, and I had no idea where to go. So it felt like Russell's Hustle is the fresh face against this bunch. He's been running against much better in those last 2 races, and I know he didn't run particularly well in those spots, but especially the 2-back race, I think he had reasons not to. He was wide, it was a slow pace. You can be forgiving with that one. The most recent one, came on Breeders' Cup undercard day, just never really picked up his feet. But you go back 3-back, 4-back, even 5 and 6-back. Those are all races that really put him right there, and those make him by far the horse to beat. I think there's enough speed in here to set it up for him. Again, the big class drop is huge. Hector Barrios is riding. I think there's a lot to like about this horse. He seems very logical in a race where the rest of the field, it could be anyone else.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And some of those races where he was not particularly running super well, I mean, those are just better horses than he's going to be facing on Saturday. Now, I know he really didn't run a ton, and maybe you can make a case that this spot is not maybe a spot that is needed for him. But I just think this is maybe where he belongs at this point. He's 6 years old, but he's got plenty of numbers. You see 3-back, 4-backs, some good buyers and time forms that totally fit in a race like this. So I do agree. I would go to the lengths that he's probably the horse to beat in here. And like you said, I just wasn't sure what to do with a lot of those horses that were coming out of that race at Santa Anita. It was at the end of October 29th, something like that. I've got the one in there because I think that's the one you maybe want out of that race.
Just
but
real quick,
I
I
do
guess
not
the
have
one
him on
concern with this horse, Russell's Hustle, is he seems like he could be better at Del Mar. Most of his good races have been at Del Mar. He hasn't been quite as good at Santa Anita, but maybe that's more circumstantial than anything.
Yeah, good point. You've got the 11 in second, who is fantastic. I saw a couple 10-year-olds run this weekend at Gulfstream in the form of, one of them was Fly the W and the other was, I think it was XY Speed. I think those were the two that I saw. You got a 10-1 in second, who is the one that you're kind of keen in on out of that common race on October 19th.
Did they win, those 10-year-olds?
They did not. I actually, believe it or not, I think they both ran second. I think Fly the W ran second, and maybe I know Fly the W definitely ran second.
I think
the other
XY
one might have.
Actually, now that I think about it. So maybe it's a good thing I have him in second. Maybe these 10
that's perfect.
They like to run second at this point in their career, as he has done in 3 of his last 5 starts. This horse comes out of the common race we talked about October 19th, and it just felt like he was really wide that final turn. He followed Jimmy Blue Jeans' move and still finished up really nicely. Got up for second that day behind Castle Leo, who returns here, and that horse saved every inch of ground on the turn. I think that was probably just the difference there was the amount of ground saved on the final turn. And I think he's every bit as good as anyone else in this race. The outside post, I think, is going to scare a lot of people away as we pull up the replay here. That's him in the pink. He was really wide the final turn, finished up nicely as the 4 saved all the ground, just came up the rail. But I mean, if I'm being honest, I think you can make a case for all 5 of those horses. I think you can make some kind of excuse for them. So I would really be price shopping if you're going to be taking a horse coming out of that common race.
No, I agree. And that's why I like the one a little bit, because I know he's going to be a price. And I know that Maldonado's probably going to put him on the lead. I know Gentleman 10's got some speed, but I don't think Rispoli's going to completely send with him. And I think Maldonado, especially with the inside post, he's going to make sure he got the lead. And I kind of feel like he almost regretted it a little bit last time, because he kind of moved quickly around the far turn to kind of grab the lead. And I thought he held on very well. Obviously, when he gets the lead, he's pretty tough to go by. And the fact that he, had to make that middle move and was only beaten a length in third last time in that common race, and I gave him credit for that. And Mullen's obviously very capable. He's fired some big runners, even some big runners that beat me, especially on opening day, where there was one of them I really liked. And then it was the Cowliff off the claim. And then the other horse off the claim, I can't remember the name, beat me at 15 or 16-1, which is a little frustrating. But obviously Jeff Mullen's very capable on this turf course. So I've got him in third, and then the 4, who, now that I think about it, it's actually another one coming out of that race. He just didn't do it last time on the page. That was 2-back for him. I don't know what you thought. Right now, with how Georgie P is training, I mean, this is as big of a trainer upgrade as you can find right now.
Yeah, he's scary. Everything he's putting on the track right now is running really well. And first off the bench, or first off the claim for this barn, this horse could definitely step up in here. And especially with Georgie P, I feel like he likes putting his horses on the lead. He just send them, like that's what they want to do. And that's what this horse wants to do. He's kind of gotten away from that lately. But when he was at his best, he was always going the front. And I would imagine that would be the plan on Saturday as well. The issue is there's a lot of other speed, because you mentioned the one wants to go. So I'm told, who's drawn to his outside, always goes when he runs 2 turns. Gentleman 10 probably does the best running on the lead as well. So that's why I was kind of looking more for off the pace types like Russell's Hustle, like Fantastic, because I think this pace has to be pretty hot.
You would think, right? I mean, one's got speed, horses that you mentioned. There's another horse, I think, from the outside that's even got some speed as well. So I would be surprised if things didn't heat up. But like I said, I mean, if anyone's going to improve off of the figures that they've been running, it's going to be someone that's getting into that barn right now. Because boy, that barn is definitely moving well as of late. So we'll go ahead and move on to the last race of the day, which is race 10. And it's, of course, the last race of the Turf Pick 3. And let me get that up on the screen for you in just a second. It is an allowance optional claiming 20,000 for state breds, mile on the turf, purse of 70,000. Picks are not up on the screen. Picks are up on the screen for the last race. The entries are up on the screen. Let me get the picks up on the screen because this is a very difficult race. I thought you've got a field of 12 with 2 AEs and the 13 Cardiff Crack and the 14 High Plains Drifter. Picks are up on the screen now, and we've got 6 selections, and 5 of them are different. I'm 4-12-2, and Jackson's going 1-6-4. Jackson, you've got the 1 Colin J, Jaramillo, Baltus. Jaramillo still looking for his first win, I believe, right? Out on the West Coast. And you know this horse is going to be 4 from the inside. What you like about this runner?
Yeah, no, I don't know what you thought, Noah. Oh, actually, by the way, Jaramillo does have a win. He has one.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah, he does. So looking for a second win. I thought this was a really difficult race, and I was going through the field and a lot of stretch out sprinters. There's so many stretch out sprinters in this race that at one point I'm like, am I reading the conditions of this race correctly? Like I had to double check that this race was actually a mile because I think there's like 6 or 7 of them coming from a one-turn sprint. So I had to double check that real quick. But Colin J is one of those that's coming out of a sprint, and you know he's a horse that likes to be close but not on the lead. And I think that could be the winning trip in this race. He's going to be forward. He's going to sit a length or 2 off of it. He's going to save every inch of ground. And I don't think he's going to mind going the 2 turns based on how he's done running 6 furlongs before. Those are usually his better races of his career. And I do think he's going to be a bit of a price in here. I think he's going to be, you know, a mid price, probably 8-1, maybe 6-1, something like that. He's eligible for this condition because they just changed it. They changed it so you can win sprinting at this level, and then you can try it again going the 2 turns and not be eligible to be claimed. So I think that's probably a good sign that they like him enough to try him at this spot. And I just think he's going to trip out. So a bit of a price in here, Colin J, and hopefully he can handle the 2 turns.
I just wanted to put this up because obviously with the DRF formulator, you've got the privilege of using time form, and sometimes time form can be used to maybe help out with figures, obviously. I think the figures that you see on the left are just indicative of how difficult this race is because you've got a number of horses that are between low 100s and high 100s. And, you know, they're not very easy to trust. I mean, the one that's got the highest is the 11 Afternoon Nap, who's one of the many sprinters that are stretching out. Not sure if the outside post and stretching out is going to do him any favors. And then the second highest on there is Druidic with the 107, who's going to be probably 15-1 at least in this race. So it just shows you that this race, I think, is going to be very difficult, and whoever you go with, you're going to get a price on them. And I like the fact that you're going with a price on the number 1, Colin J. Cali Cat was one that I think is probably going to benefit from stretching out. He's one that is one of the many horses that are stretching out, but he's run 2 turns before, and he's done it all right. I mean, he was in the Snow Chief, ran well that day. In the Oceanside, I mean, horses in the Oceanside, granted, that was straight 3-year-olds at the time, I think are probably better than what he's facing today. And even the open race, he was part of a hot pace, geometries, and a decent runner for Jonathan Thomas, and he ran all right in that spot at the beginning of August at Del Mar. So I was going to go to his direction. Obviously, I would think connections like this would be bet in a spot like this, but a lot of times you just kind of put your trust in the hands of Hector Barrios and John Sadler on this turf course. I'm going to go in that direction, and you got him in third as well. As anything that you want to
add? Do you think he's going to be the favorite in this race? I feel like it's a good chance he does, right?
I'm a little worried he might, but I do think the 11 should take some money just because he's got some pretty big figs.
Yeah, I just didn't want him as a favorite because he really hasn't run that well the last 2 races. I know they came against way better, but he was last in the stakes race. The race before was a 4-horse field. He's beaten 4 lengths on the grass. Like, they were just okay performances. But definitely before that, he was running really well. And no doubt this is a much easier spot.
Yeah. We'll go to the 6, who you've got in second, who is another speedy type 1 Smoking Dude, who I just wasn't sure what to do with just because he's only tried the grass once, and that was his debut. So obviously he's a much better horse than that at this point in his career, and Miotti gets him back. So obviously there's some things to like about this runner.
Yeah, this is one, I think it's going to be a big price in this race. I don't see how he can take much money in here. And as you mentioned, the turf is a question mark, but he ran on the turf in his debut and got a 49 buyer. came right back and got a 49 on the dirt. So based on that, I would assume he's probably pretty equal ability on both surfaces. The bigger question for me is the 2 turns, because he hasn't done that before, but he's in very good form. He won at 5.5, stretched out to 6.5 at Los Al, had a tough trip, and still found a way to win that race pretty comfortably in the end at this level. So just seems like a horse that's in really good form. Another one that's going to be close to the front but doesn't need the lead, and he's going to be, I think it's going to be double digits, so I wanted to use him as well.
Yeah, I like it. I went to the 12 in second, and if you're right about the 4 being favored in this race, this might be the one that I bet come post time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 12 Warm, Sun, and Brew. Obviously, the post is going to be a bit of a concern. He was second to Sir Percival sprinting on debut, but he was closing well, which is why he was, 3-2 in his second start. And I want to pull up the replay because I thought this was a bit of an interesting race just from the way that he was ridden. Let me go ahead and pull that up. He is the 7 in this race, and you can kind of see early on, JJ's pretty laid back and is trying not to kind of let him go. You can see the 2s up there, the 3s up there, 8s up there. But at this point, he just says, you know what, go ahead and screw it. I mean, we're on the best horse. We're going to go ahead and go. And he gets pretty much hounded all the way through with the 8. And you can see by the running line, the 8's, absolutely nowhere. It was nowhere to be found. But goes ahead and takes control late. I just love the way that he's finishing here. He's got a big stride to him. Clearly, he's got more in the tank, as you see JJ's going to wrap up here in a second. And there's definitely some improvement that I could see from here. Maybe this is a little bit too much too soon, but it's a wide open race. I think he's got as good a shot as anybody. The figs are maybe a little bit light as of now, and the post certainly doesn't help. But I'm definitely having him on the tickets. And like I said, if the 4 gets bet to a price that I don't want to bet him, I'm going to be pushing on this 12.
I like it. I definitely bet the 8 in that race, by the way. The one that got dead last. I know.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's great. I love that. I think that is going to do it for. Oh, you know what? I got to talk about the 2.
Yeah, I did want to ask you about the 2. What did you make of his most recent race? Because I went back and forth several times.
Yeah, the thing was I liked his most recent race. I think this is him right here, right? King of Dragons. Yeah. I liked his most recent race. I was just a little worried about kind of where it came from. I do give him the benefit of the doubt because he ran against some decent horses, and Winning Patriot went wire to wire that day. I know Winning Patriot came back and ran down the hill and didn't run all that well, but he was kind of one of those contenders that I didn't think the cutback would be super good for him. So I didn't really expect him to run super well. So I wanted to maybe give him a little bit of a favor and maybe not downgrade that race as much as maybe some other people are. But it was second off the bench. It's going to be the second time that he's going to run since February. But the one major concern that I had and maybe was kind of the main reason why I didn't have him on the ticket is just I would kind of like to see it again a little bit. And I think he's maybe one that could get bet off that big fig.
Yeah, that's fair. I almost put him on top, to be honest, and I ended up chucking him completely. He got a perfect ride by someone. He saved every inch of ground. He got the fast pace, the inside-outside trip you want to see, and he ran really well. And then I wanted to downgrade him for that, but then I'm like, oh, he might get the same trip again, given how much speed's in here. I just didn't know what to do with them, and it'd be more price dependent for me. Very tough race. Very tough race,
and a thought like that makes a ton of sense. So we'll go ahead and get our best bets on the screen. And since we covered the Turf Pick 3, I actually had myself and Jackson put some Turf Pick 3 tickets together. So Jackson's Turf Pick 3 ticket is on the screen. He's going 310 with 8 with 1.6. That is $12 for the $3 minimum, obviously, that they offer over at Santa Anita. Jackson, walk us through your ticket.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I didn't go 3 deep or more in any of the races on Saturday after you made fun of me last week for doing that. So kept it extra skinny this week just for you. This is a sequence I thought, like, I'll play just one ticket. I think this is one I need to play a few tickets and use A's and B's for once in my life, because it's just really tough to have really strong opinions. I think you can narrow it down, but to get like singles that was tough. So first race, I went the 3 and the 10. That's Halo Lady, who we both have on top. That would be my top pick as well. I think she'll be about 3-1. But I also wanted to use Clubhouse Cutie, who I would use as potential speed of the speed in that race. So going to try to beat the favorite in there, who's Cloudy Women. Going to try to beat that horse, get a little value in that race. Race 8, I ended up singling Russell's Hustle just because he's the new face in a race where a lot of those horses have just been and taking turns beating each other. He's coming out of tougher races. He's the closer in a race that has a ton of speed. So I wanted to single him. I think he could be favored, but I did single him, so I don't feel too badly about it. And then the last race is just wide open. I went 1-6 there. Both should be mid-prices if I had to guess. And you could probably talk me into a couple others in that last race. It's very difficult.
Yeah, so if you were going to play a second ticket, would be this one you'd maybe press up a little bit, maybe play for, $5 or $10. And then would you play a bit of a ticket where you went 3-10 with 8 and then maybe use some others in the last race to have it maybe for, $3 or $5 or whatever?
I think I would probably play 3 tickets with my top pick singled in each of them. So 3 different tickets. One of them I'd single the 3 in the first leg, single the 8 another leg, single the 1 in the third leg, and then use all my Bs. And then I would come back and play it straight 3, 8, 1 for like $5 as well in case I just crush it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, ticket construction is obviously something that we like to talk about on this show, and it's good to pick brains when it comes to that. So good luck with your.
It feels like one there's not going to be like a huge favorite in any of the races, right?
Yeah.
It should pay decent, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. My pick 3 is on the screen. I'm going 3-7 with 4-8 with 2-4-12. That is $36 for the $3 minimum. Same as you, Jackson. Halo Lady. She seems a little bit all or nothing, so I've got her on top. Obviously, I think she's got a big shot. And then Lady Rider I used as well, who ran a big second, I think, last time and has every right to improve there. Second leg, 4-8. Completely agree about the 8. Russell's Hustle for Barrios and Miller. And then, like I said, if anyone's going to show big improvement, it's going to be the 4 Jimmy Blue Jeans getting into the barn of Georgie P for the first time. And then the last race, very difficult, 2-4-12. 2 King of Dragons, who we mentioned, big race last time. Obviously not sure where it came from, but has every chance to maybe run that again. The 4 Cali Cat, who was the top pick, makes a bunch of sense stretching out for the, not for the first time, but getting back to that routed ground. And then the 12, who, like I said, could be the top pick come post time, who I think has every right to improve. So that is my $36 ticket. And we've got a special guest, Kyle Roscoe, ladies and gentlemen, joining me from the Bayside Bunker.
This guy doesn't even know where I live. That's the funny part of it all.
I'm not exactly sure where I'm at right now.
Like, where am I?
I'm live.
Well, I don't even. He doesn't even know where he flew into, probably. But good luck, everyone. I want to give him some crap before he ends off the show.
Yeah, well, I had to give him some crap this afternoon. So,
yeah.
What a way to wrap up the show. Kyle Roscoe joining us, and if you want to see more of Kyle Roscoe, you can go ahead and watch the normal show that happens with this stuff behind me, which is Betting and Boozing tomorrow night. So,
and Thursday.
Yeah, it'll be you and Kyle and Howard, correct? Doing the weekend, another weekend, the wire to wire.
I think I'm getting some quality time with Kyle on Thursday.
Kyle, just you and Jackson for wire to wire.
Oh, maybe.
He said maybe.
I think Howard's in Santa Anita.
Oh, that's right. He's right. He's going to be at Santa Anita. So,
oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's going to be Kyle and Jackson.
God, look out for that show.
Boy, I wish I was still here. I'm going to be on the plane. Damn, I would really love to.
You should podcast from the plane. People would love that.
Kyle was going to podcast from Disney the other day, but he got sick and unfortunately he couldn't do but then it got canceled anyway. Yeah, so it was a blessing in disguise.
They would have loved to hear me talk like this for.
Yeah. So hopefully he gets that figured out, because they got about 22 hours until they go live tomorrow night. So if you want to hear a raspy Kyle Roscoe, go ahead and join Betting and Boozing tomorrow night. Jax, I think that wraps things up for us. Anything you want to leave the viewers with tonight?
No. See you guys next week. Or see you on Thursday. See you guys on Thursday.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Go check out these boys on Thursday. I got to have Kyle kick my ass in darts. So for Jackson, for Noah, this has been episode 61 of Pacific Horseplayers, covering races 3, 5, 6, 8, and 10 at Santa Anita on Saturday. And until next time, PHP out.